what would you say is the greatest lesson that our history has taught you that could actually help the Iranians in dealing with the United States?
Well, of course, I don't know any other nation that has endured 463 years of oppression and tyranny. And it goes on right up to this moment that we are conversing. We believe that Allah wants us to separate from America. We do not wish to be integrated into that decadent house. We want some territory that we can call our own, because we are between 40 and 50 million people, and with our Hispanic brothers and sisters of the same number or more, and our native people, white supremacy makes it difficult for us to live in peace with them. And now, the attempt now is, you don't have anything for us to do. So there's a plan outright to kill us. And it's happening every single day. Somebody is killing a black boy, a black man, a black woman. We are still suffering. And even though some of us are living better than others, the one lesson we learn is that the white American is disagreeable to live with in peace. And if you've got a husband that is not good, and he keeps beating you and mistreating you, at a certain point, the romance is over. A divorce is a proper thing. It would be better for us to have a divorce from America with land settlement and reparations to build a nation of our own. And that's what we want. We learn. The big lesson is we can't live with them in peace. Have you noticed, my sister, that if you and I in America, we look at the same thing, but we see it differently all the time? They want peace, but they want peace on their terms. It's like we don't have any terms for peace, so we have to settle with whatever we can get. I'm sure you heard the news, 100 women or more in the Congress of the United States. That gives us a glimmer of hope, because any society that's totally run by men is missing something. And this revolution, women are playing a significant role. Women are in parliament, right? Women in government. We have a long way to go in recognizing the supreme value of women. But those women, Muslim, Christian, Jews, agnostics, they're all there in the Congress. They got a chance to see if they can make the words life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, if they can help that to become a reality. I don't think so, but we are not angry if they try. But I hope we can find a way to get away from them.
Let's talk about that. Find a way to get away from them. So what exactly does that mean? Does that mean that United States would basically, because we've seen in the past, the promises that they had given to black people after slavery, that they never kept their promise, the promises that they had given throughout the years. I mean, even if we go to the Voting Rights Act and we see that it was rescinded recently.
That's right.
We see that so many promises have been made, but never really carried out. So how can we get from where we are now to what you're saying as far as actually getting separate land, our own land?
We can't do it without the help of Allah. In the Quran and in the Bible, God came to the children of Israel and raised Moses up not to integrate the children of Israel into Egypt, but to give them a land of their own. Pharaoh thought he was a god beside God. So he didn't know who this was that Moses was representing. There were 10 plagues that hit Pharaoh, and the last one was the plague of death. And only those that had on their doorpost the blood of a lamb had an X on it. They were spared in what is called the Passover. But when Pharaoh thought that his end had come, he told Moses, "Take your people and go." But as Moses and the people were leaving, Pharaoh took his army and said, "Go and kill them." And that's when Pharaoh's army was destroyed. And as Pharaoh was going down in that sea, he bore witness that Allah is God. And Allah saved his body. And his body is in the museum in Egypt as a sign to this modern Pharaoh who thinks he's a god. And he's made everybody terrified. Everybody's frightened of America. And Allah is whipping the hell out of America with wind and rain and fire and water and hail. You haven't seen nothing yet. Earthquakes will bring down cities. And when he knows that it's coming because of us. Yesterday, I said to them, there are two that back me. I wasn't making something up. The two that back me have the power to destroy America. There's a machine up over your head. I tried to say this in Iran, wondering, are your scientists looking at the phenomena of what you call unidentified flying objects? I brought it up to some of the generals, and I wanted to hear, have you been watching this? God is present. The wisdom of God. Have you seen this black brother on television that is a physicist and biophysicist, chemist? He's talking about what's going on out there. We had some who have experience with the wheels at our convention, and they said that the knowledge that is on that wheel, it would take 1,000 years for America, or for the wise of America, to catch up to that. That's the power that's backing us. So we're not worried whether we're going to get what we want. That's why I said the country is ours. Allah says in the Bible and in the Quran, he takes the kingdom from whom he pleases and he gives it to whom he pleases, and it pleases him that we should have some land of our own. So when Allah's help and victory comes, and you see men entering the religion of Allah in companies, celebrate the praise of your Lord and ask his protection, for surely Allah is the best of protectors. So no, we're fulfilling the book, and you are fulfilling the book. You have a great future, a great role to play in the ending of a world of evil.
Minister, when we look at the situation, for example, of the current status of African Americans in general, as you said, as we're speaking now, unfortunately, more of our brothers and sisters are being killed or arrested. We have seen with the number of abortions in the Black community, that's systematic, basically, one would say, trying to stop us from reproducing. We've seen a rise in homosexuality that was never tolerated, actually, in the Black community. The rise in crime, of course, we have gotten over the crack peak, fortunately, but that caused such division of families. So my question to you then, as a leader of the Nation of Islam, what needs to be done on that side of things to get our people ready for what you have said? And tell me the role you see the nation being able to fulfill in all of this.
You described the condition very, very well. Somebody may not want to leave the house, but if the house is on fire, you get out. Our people's suffering is being amplified now because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad warned us years ago, we must get up and do something for ourselves before we are forced to do it. He told us the factories would close. And now in America, there's hardly any jobs in the inner cities for our people. In Flint, Michigan, they poisoned the water. And it's happened in Cleveland and in other cities. This is a genocidal plot against us. The Native Americans on the reservation, terrible suffering. So we have to come to the realization that enough is enough. And when we are ready to answer the question in the Quran that says persecution is worse than slaughter, and when we're ready to answer the question of the law of retaliation, a life for a life, you don't get what you want until you're ready to pay the supreme sacrifice to get it. And I don't like to talk much about this, but our people are getting very, very tired of dying at the hands of the enemy and not reciprocating. Allah is the avenger, that's true, but we have something to do.